What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Mock Draft Monday, and the mock draft competitions continue. We have 11 new people. Some of them are repeats, but a good portion of them are new people. So I'll do my intro after I make my pick. And I was very interested to see who's going to be taking the running backs early on. So now the top four goes, no Zeke, no Melvin Gordon. That news is going to be tough to think about when you're in your drafts. I'm not going to take Zeke right now. I don't think the risk is worth it at this point. But who do I take? I did 6 because someone asked me to do this spot, and it's a very difficult spot in the first 2 rounds. So I'm going to see what happens when I take Adams here, because I did get asked this question, what do we do now? Because before the potential Zeke holdout, we still don't know what's going to happen, and the potential Melvin Gordon holdout or trade, we knew that there was the top 5, pretty obvious running backs. Then the 6th spot, you could pretty much go with Melvin Gordon. You could start taking the wide receivers. Now, if you're at the 6th spot, you're not going to get one of the top 4 running backs, and you're kind of hesitant to take Zeke and Melvin Gordon. So what do you do? So I'm going to show you, I guess now, what a draft looks like when you take one of the elite wide receivers. I have Hopkins and Adams like right next to each other. I'm not overly concerned. I don't even remember who I have ranked first out of the 2 of them, whichever one you feel like taking. But I do think those 2 are at the top. So let's see how the team shapes up when we take a wide receiver at this spot. Then let's also think back what would have happened had I taken, it would probably be James Conner, I guess, if I wasn't going to go with Zeke. Yeah, I think James Conner is the next one I have ranked. So we'll do it the reverse. Each time I get to a pick, maybe we'll think about what would have been different. But my general strategy when I do go with a wide receiver, this point in the first round, not at like 10, 11, 12, because then you can go RB0. But at this point, I'm leaning running back this next pick. If it's even remotely close, I'm leaning running back, because when I say I want to go RB0, I want to get one of Julio, Tyreek Hill, or Juju, plus the ones that have already been taken, because Michael Thomas, Odell, and Hopkins have already been taken. Excuse me. And I'm pretty sure that those 3 are going to be gone. So I don't really want to start off RB0 with like Mike Evans would be my next rated quarterback. Or wide receiver. I don't really love starting off Adams, Evans for RB0. So I'd be leaning more towards running backs. But again, it's a tough spot. It really is a difficult spot. If you guys are able to pick your draft position, like maybe you do it based off of where people finished in the prior year, like that's where they get to pick their spot. Our league, personally, if you guys are looking for how spots are picked, we put all 1 through 12 in a hat, shake it up, and then say you pick 1. It doesn't mean you pick 1. It means you get the first opportunity to pick what spot you're in. Now our league's also different because it's a 1-person keeper league, so the first round's a little different than like a normal roster. A lot of these high-end players are gone. But anyways, if you can pick your spot, I want to be getting one of these top 4 running backs, or basically I want to be at the end. You don't need to be 12, but in that 10, 11, 12 range is nice. Running backs left, we're going to be deciding between Gurley, Dalvin Cook, Damien Williams, Melvin Gordon, drop. The rest of those guys I don't really want to be taking in the second round, and I listed 4 and there's only 4 picks left, so we will get one of those. Or Juju, but he just went. I would consider Juju at that spot, and I probably would take Juju if he fell that far. But I don't think I'm going to take Evans. And I don't even remember what wide receivers exactly. I think it's Evans, then Cooper, then Keenan Allen. It's something like that. But again, a lot of those guys are similar, and I need to lean running back with this next pick. So I really actually wanted Dalvin Cook there. We're basically going to go... Wow, so if Damien Williams doesn't get taken, we'll probably take him. I have moved him down the rankings basically to this spot. Maybe to this exact spot with all the guys that have been taken. The hamstring's a concern. They're always concerns. But if in this next week he's able to come back, everything from camp still indicates that he is the number 1 when he's there. That doesn't mean we're avoiding Carlos Hyde, because I have Carlos Hyde ranked like 2 rounds ahead of ADP. It just means that I want the running back on that team, and right now it's Damien Williams because there's nothing to indicate that the hamstring injury is long term. But if we don't get him, I mean, we could go Gurley. I'm just really okay. So that's a tough spot. That's a tough spot to be in. I said I wouldn't take Evans, but our option is we could take let's try this. Let's try Kelsey. I don't know how many mock drafts have taken Kelsey. I know that his value went down after Tyreek Hill is now not suspended for any games, obviously, because now he was going to just be peppered with targets in the games that Hill would have been out. But I liked him at the end of the first before that. Now I like him right here. Anywhere in that like mid-second round, that's good value for Travis Kelce. I like Kelce. I like Kittle, O.J. Howard, and I like Hooper late. I like Rudolph, but really it's the ones I would target would be Kelce, Kittle, Howard, Andrews. Those would be like the guys that at each portion of the draft, if I don't get Kelce, it falls to Kittle. If I don't get Kittle, it falls to Howard. If I don't get Howard, I'm trying to get Andrews on my team. That's kind of the different sections of the draft. But let's see how this turns out because, I also want to show you guys. So this one, this draft, I opened up another bench spot. Figured we'd switch things up. We don't usually do that. So you could go 4 running backs. You could go 4 wide receivers. You could add tight ends, but that would be interesting, I guess, if you wanted to like draft Kittle and put him in the flex. But typically you don't want to do that. It's not super flex. It's still 1 quarterback. I think I will do a super flex soon. But we usually do 1 bench spot. So I thought opening up to 2 bench spots would be interesting to kind of see how things change. With our next pick, would have liked Marlon Mack or Kerryon Johns. I mean, that's not going to happen. Still not going to go with Gordon. Although I guess today opened up the possibility that he gets traded to the Texans, in which case, boy, would that be a really nice start to our draft. But I really don't want Fournette. You could go with Devonta Freeman. You could go with Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be fine. Jacobs, David Montgomery. I'm not super excited about the value of all of them. We can consider starting off maybe doing an RB0 draft here. So we've got Thielen, Diggs. Okay, Thielen, Diggs, Cooks, Godwin is the range I like. I mean, we could realistically start with maybe we like grab Diggs here, who I have ranked next, and then potentially Godwin at our next pick if we wanted to start RB0. We just need to keep in mind that there's a big drop-off, and there's no way that tier running back will still be there in the 4th round. 4th round, we're starting to get into the names I don't love, but we will start to target RB0 backs once we get later on. I'm very interested in seeing how this turns out because you can go RB0, especially when you open up the extra bench spots. Because now we can start 4 wide receivers, so it's much more beneficial to do that since we only need to find 2 running backs. And I think I am going to try it. I don't think I've done a mock draft that was RB0, especially from this middle spot, yet. So let's try it out. Let's take Diggs and hope. I'm basically hoping that Godwin's there at the next pick. I really don't think Golladay, Woods, Cooks, Edelman, Thielen, I really don't think those guys are going to be there. But I think there's a chance that Godwin makes it to our next pick. I really also don't think that Freeman, Henry, Jacobs, Montgomery, boom, I see a cutoff right there. So many of those guys are going to go between this and our next pick. Oh, okay. I think it's going to work. So someone did take Ertz. I was hoping that someone would take him. So now we have 1 running back, 1, 2, 3 wide receivers in the next tier of players that I was targeting. So I am going to get one of Robert Woods, Kenny Golladay, Chris Godwin, or David Montgomery. Nice. I like when things work out because I don't even know what I was going to do. Go back. I didn't know what I was going to do if I didn't get one of them because I really didn't want to jump into this next year running back. I mean, there's definitely names I like in there, and I will be targeting them at the 4. But I didn't want to have to do that. But we got our boy, guys. We got him. Christopher Godwin. One of my favorite picks in the draft. I think that he's unbelievably talented. There's so many targets. What is it? 179 targets available from last season. He's going to move into the slot. This is a team that's going to have to throw a ton. It's just everything. Absolutely everything points to him being great. So starting off the team, Adams, Diggs, Kelsey, Godwin, love it. And we still have another spot that we can put a wide receiver. So realistically, at the next round, like, we could go after DJ Moore if we wanted to. I don't know that I will, because we'd be getting really late into the running backs. Ideally, I want one of Carson, Tevin Coleman, Penny, Henderson with the next pick. That's kind of what my mid-fifth round pick I would prefer it to be. I do think I am going to get one of them. I think some guys are going to take Hunter Henry and OJ Howard in this next spot. I'm pretty sure that Patrick Mahomes will go, and then some wide receivers. So I do think I can lock up one of the running backs that I want here. But something I wanted to talk about, and I'll make sure I wrote it down in Google Keep. Yeah, okay. So the question was, in regards to our draft guide, but really any draft guide, right? Like if you have a set of rankings, maybe even do your own rankings, and you see that you have a player ranked, I don't know, as the wide receiver 15, and his ADP is the wide receiver 25. So looking at that, you'd be like, oh, well, I have him ranked next. Like he's my next rated wide receiver. So I should draft him next, right? Or should I not? That was basically the question. It was, if I'm in the draft and I'm just crossing off the list, do I just always take the next person? The answer's no for that, but be careful. So I saw like Godwin here, right? Maybe let's pretend Godwin was supposed to go a little bit closer to that 5th round pick. If I think I can make it to the next selection, then I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely wait and see if I can get there. But if you think there's, a decent chance that that player isn't going to be available next, just go by the rankings. You don't have to always be like, well, his ADP is still a half a round later, so I have to wait. I have to take someone who's going here. No, you don't have to do that. You can draft players based off the rankings. But you do lose value. So if we have players ranked as a target and you draft them a round ahead of where their ADP is going, maybe they're not a target anymore. Like I'm not targeting Chris Godwin in the 3rd round. So even though I have a target there, don't draft him in the 3rd round. So I hope that makes sense. It's basically try and get the best values possible, because let's say that exact scenario I was talking about. It's the wide receiver 15 is ranked next for you, but he's going at ADP 25, which means you'll probably get him at the next pick. So you can grab the wide receiver 16 and at the next spot get the wide receiver 15. But have you taken Godwin, let's say, was the wide receiver 15 at that first one, well, now you might have to take like the wide receiver 23 at your next pick. So it's always about getting as much value as you possibly can. Just know that you can just draft based off rankings if the ADP is pretty close, at least. I was actually looking at that one. So I was thinking in my head while my pick was coming up, do I want to take Tevin Coleman or do I want to take Lamar Miller? And Clutch C over here made a pick for me. He took Lamar Miller. I don't know where exactly. I'm pretty sure they're like right next to each other in the rankings. My gut, and I guess I'll adjust the rankings if they don't follow this. I was going to take Tevin Coleman if it came to that, and I was going to hope that Lamar Miller was available in the next round. Best available information, that's what we have to draft on, right, is that Lamar Miller is now the only guy, which is why I did move him up the rankings. I just don't remember how high it was. But best available information is that he's the guy. He's not going to get obviously 100% of the work, and it's a bad offensive line, and they're going to be trailing in more games than they were in the prior season, which is all reasons I like the passing offense more than the rushing offense this season for them. But he's still going to score touchdowns. He's still going to be involved. I mean, they still use him in the passing game. He's going to obviously get a lot of first and second down and third down work, so he's a good pick. He's still a good pick in the 5th round. I just do think that this 49ers offense is going to be a lot better than people think. And while I do love the ADP on Breda, whatever. I never know how to say his name. Love the ADP on him. I like the ADP on both of them. So I'm cool drafting Coleman. They just put their players in the best situations, the best possible situations to succeed. And they did fantastic last season running the ball, even when you looked at their passing attack and you're like, why couldn't teams stop the run? I mean, the passing attack wasn't that good. Yeah, well, every part of the offense is getting a boost this season. So I think Coleman is a good start to our RB0. Like our next target is one of Penny or Henderson. I don't know if they're going to make it to the next spot. But guys like Tariq Cohen, I'm not in love with Tariq Cohen, but Penny, Henderson, Latavius Murray, Eckler, Miles Sanders, those are guys we're targeting because I feel really good about their value, and I do think that you can start them as RB2. So if we can get a really nice start to the wide receivers and the tight end, and I can just fill in the running back and then take some shots late, I like our start. Okay, so it's time for our pick. I've been looking at my different options, and I was hoping I'd get D'Angelo Henderson there. But we are going to take Austin Eckler, even though it's possible he makes it to the next round, just doesn't feel worth it to wait on him. I was looking at wide receiver because, again, we still have that extra flex spot that we could have put someone, but it would have basically been Pettis, and then I already have Tevin Coleman, so I'd have been having a lot in one offense. Typically, I use that as a tiebreaker. Could have gone with Fuller, Allison, Marquez, Sutton, but they all kind of lump into the same tier for me. Maybe Pettis is a little bit above, but again, I just said I already drafted Coleman. And so I didn't see a huge gap between any of them, and I'm pretty sure I can get someone in that kind of tier with this next pick. I obviously wasn't going with tight end, and then I looked at running back, and Eckler was my next guy. But, I mean, I was looking at Murray, and then I kind of looked down, and I'm like, wow, there's just not that much other than the flyers that we like. So I took Eckler just because, let's say that Melvin Gordon signs tomorrow, Eckler still has value. Like, look at his stats. Even when Melvin Gordon is on the field, they still use him, and they use him in a receiving role. And so in a half-point PPR league, he's going to get receptions. He's going to be used sometimes in the red zone. So he's going to have standalone value. Now assume the other scenarios. You know, Melvin Gordon gets traded. Well, now Eckler is a fantastic pick in the 6th round. I mean, he's the clear, I wouldn't say clear because Justin Jackson will still have a role, but he is the lead back on that team and on a really good offense. So he's easily a great pick there. And then maybe Melvin Gordon does what's also possible and holds out halfway through the year and then comes back. Well, now I'm getting a really good pick for half of the season, and I've got plenty of time to figure out who my running back 2 is going to be. So I just think it's a smart pick, especially for an RB0 strategy. Who's he going to take? He started off, okay, so he went Hopkins, Antonio Brown, then he went with running backs. Oh, and I sniped Eckler from him. He had Melvin Gordon. I'm hoping he doesn't take Fuller. I want Fuller with this pick, just for the upside. I know he's not going to be 100% to start the season. Nice, he took Aaron Rodgers. I'm also considering Watson with this pick as well, but I know how much or how many quarterbacks will be available late, so I will take Watson if he's at my 8th round pick. I will take him at that point. But I took Fuller because I feel really good about Adams, Diggs, Godwin starting for me every week. I wanted upside. Like, you can afford to take some real take a shot on an upside player with that 4th wide receiver because I feel good that like they're going to give me production every week. But Fuller's going to have a week this season where he goes for 100 and a touchdown, right? Or 102 touchdowns. So those weeks where my 4 just kills it, and then I feel really good about the rest of my roster, I mean, he could end up winning me a few weeks. And it's not that bad if your 4 ends up posting a few duds. So I'm cool with a volatile player in that role. I considered Allison, Marquez, Sutton, Dede, Samuel. I just kind of feel like maybe one of those guys is going to be available at the next pick. I don't know. I feel like one of them might be. And there goes Watson. So I did consider Watson. I thought getting him in the 7th round is a good value. He's my 2nd rated quarterback. There's a very legitimate case for him being the top rated quarterback this season. So 7th round is a great value. He's not going to go that late in your hometown leagues. But I also know that at the very end of this draft, I'm going to have my choice between guys like Newton and Winston, Lamar Jackson and Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins, and it's whoever I want at the end of the draft. So I was thinking, let's lock up like a really solid wide receiver that I feel good about the upside for, because I think adding depth to my team would be more important than getting that edge at quarterback. I could be wrong, but I also looked at running back, and I did not love what I saw. There are some options I want, and there are some people I could take in the 8th round. Most notably, Carlos Hyde. Like you guys have heard me say, he's not that good. He's really not. He's been the worst running back on his team, on every team he's been on. Like if you look at the stats and you line up all the running backs every season that he's on a team, he's always the worst one. Like it's incredible, but it doesn't matter because I would draft myself in the 3rd round on the Chiefs roster. So he's not the starter, but if Williams can't end up holding up, like in this draft, I didn't get Damien Williams. So I could operate under the assumption that he ends up busting and it's a backup. We still don't even know who the backup's going to be. That's why we're going to have to watch the preseason. But reports out of camp have been that he's been pretty good. So I will very much consider Carlos Hyde because, again, he's a running back that you take when you start off RB0 because you're shooting for upside. And who else has more upside than a running back in the Chiefs offense? Other than him, like I don't want Hunt because realistically it's going to be week 11 before I could consider starting him because he's got the 8-week suspension, a bye, and then I'm not starting him in his first game back because I don't know what to expect. So it's going to be his next game back that I just can't hold up a roster spot. There's only 5 bench spots in this league. You just can't do it. Someone's going to drop. I bet you someone drops in week like 6 or 7 when they realize that all these buys and injuries are hitting. They're like, I got to get rid of someone. It's going to have to be Hunt. And then Freeman, I mean, he already had no passing game role, and then they bring in Theo Riddick, and he's not going to catch any passes. So the dude needs 100 rushing yards a game to pay off, and he's not going to. So I can't touch him. Ronald Jones, he's still splitting work with Barber, so what am I doing there? I don't know. The upside's a little bit capped there. Plus, maybe they bring in Duke Johnson. Maybe they trade for Melvin Gordon. There's a lot of different variables that can happen where I'm not super pumped about that pick. No way in the world I'm drafting LaShawn McCoy this season. So now we're in this Damien Harris, again, Carlos Hyde, Ito Smith, but I kind of want to see that he's definitely secured the number 2 role. Balaj, Justice Hill, Breida, but these are guys I don't really want to take in the 8th round. So I'm hoping for Carlos Hyde. I could take a wide receiver because since I can start 5 of them, and I'm going to have buys in week 11, week 12, week 10, 11, 12, and 7, I will be starting whatever wide receiver I take next. Plus, if any of those guys get injuries. There's only a realistic chance that my next wide receiver drafted, I'm starting in more than half of the weeks. Think about that a little bit, because a lot of people they're like, oh, look at your starting roster, though. Like, look at your running back 2. So, first of all, you don't know what my running back 2 is going to be in week 4, so don't look at it right now. But also look at the bench. Like, you have to build a deep bench, because you're going to be using your bench every single week, because, newsflash, you're going to draft some bust. You're going to draft people who get hurt, who get replaced, who have terrible matchups, who are on bye. You're going to need your bench every single week. So it would not be a bad idea to draft another wide receiver here. Who would I take? It'd be between Allison, Scantling, Sutton. Cutie would have been nice, but actually I wouldn't have because I had Fuller. But we are going to take Carlos Hyde because he kind of ends that middle tier. I think he's the last running back I had ranked in like that middle chunk, and after this it's more the sleepers. But I do feel really good about these running backs for how many wide receivers we have. Like Coleman, Eckler, Hyde. Listen, there's a chance that they all bust, but there's also a chance that they hit their ceiling and they're all running back 1 or 2s. So definitely like that start. Guys, I'm struggling to find a running back that I want on my team. I'm considering going Balaj here, and I really don't want to do that. Because, terrible offense, terrible offensive line, splitting early down work. I mean, what's the upside in that? I'm looking for someone with a hint of upside. There's Darwin Thompson potentially. I guess I could just draft all the backups to the guy I think is going to do well. Duke Johnson's an option. But since I can't make up my mind, I'll probably just draft a wide receiver. Definitely not N'Keal Harry right now. Corey Davis is an option. DK Metcalf. Anthony Miller. Okay. So we're going to take Metcalf and then hope that we can target like Anthony Miller and Josh Gordon would be two guys that would be nice. If I could get Anthony Miller, Josh Gordon, another running back, defense quarterback, I'd be cool with how the rest of my draft goes at that point. Because my boy Josh Gordon has filed for reinstatement. No idea what Goodell's going to do. Like, genuinely, he could be like, you have a 7-year ban, or you have a 7-game. I don't know. I have no take on what he's going to do, and I have no idea when the decision's going to come. Like, I don't know. So, be on the lookout for any news, but you have to take a shot at the upside. I know you guys like to comment, like, how could you draft him? He's not even in the league right now. How could you not like to draft him late? I mean, look at the wide receivers in this range. Like, I like Moncrief, Miller, Funchess is an option, Traquan, Hollywood Brown, Deshaun Hamilton, Albert Wilson. But, like, the names I'm listing, how much upside do they really have? Besides Moncrief and Anthony Miller, that entire list, what's the real upside of those players? Well, now tell me what's the real upside of Josh Gordon when we hear that, like, players with names I've never even heard of are the most impressive wide receivers on the Patriots roster right now. Like, obviously that's because Edelman's injured at the moment, but he's going to be ready to go week 1. But, like, there's no competition whatsoever for that outside role. If Josh Gordon steps onto the field, he's the one. And he showed last season, look at any advanced metric you want, Josh Gordon was near the top of the league in a lot of advanced metrics and a lot of categories. And, like, Brady had one of his best performances ever when targeting him among any player, among any wide receiver, I think it was. Targeting Josh Gordon, he was more efficient than anyone else in the history of his playing time, which has been a long time. And they just gave him a two-year renewal for his contract for the people who think he's going to fall off a cliff. But anyways, that's my Josh Gordon rant. But we want Anthony Miller, we want Josh Gordon, and then I'm going to take a shot at a running back that probably doesn't have that much upside, but I'm going to try. Nice. We got our guy. We got Anthony Miller. I wasn't too concerned. I didn't think someone was going to take Miller, and if someone did, I was probably going to take Moncrief. After that, though, I don't know what I was going to do. But we're hoping that we get Josh Gordon the next pick. Let's start scrolling through some of these running backs, though. Who, I guess now, in like the 11th round, yeah, if it came to Ballage in the 11th round, I'd take it. Because at that point, these are just throwaway picks. These are just, hey, let's just throw running backs at the wall and see if they stick. So it'd be like Ballage, Ito Smith, Singletary. I haven't heard very recent news from Singletary. I expect him to get some playing time in that first preseason game, right? I mean, they've got a million running backs, so they got to try and cycle some of them through. But I guess we'll see how he performs in that, how much work they give him in that. I could go Justin Jackson and just grab all of the backups from Melvin Gordon, but that's probably not in my best interest. I should probably play this out as if Eckler was the correct choice. Same thing with Darwin Thompson, like I mentioned. I could go Duke Johnson. I believe he's a hamstring right now. I'm not 100% sure if he's returned to practice. I don't believe we've gotten reports over the weekend from that, but I could be wrong. But if he's coming back, then, hey, you've got a passing down role running back on a really good offense, so he should have a nice role in the offense until Hunt comes back, and maybe they trade him right when Hunt is expected to return to a team that wants to use him. So I think there's a lot of possible outcomes where Duke Johnson's a good pick. So I wouldn't be upset with that one. There's just, like, Chase Edmonds, I guess, but I'd be playing the injury role at that point. But you could go there. Anyone else down here, Malcolm Brown is fine, but I don't even have a case to be made for some of these picks. Jordan Wilkins, I guess. Yeah, no. I'm not drafting anyone down here, right? Dexter Williams wouldn't be bad. He could win that job if Aaron Jones got hurt. That would be a name to watch. But let's just hope that we can grab. I don't even want to say. Let's hope we can grab Ballage. Like, he's not good. That's my issue. Is that he forced 3 missed tackles on 45 touches last season. Didn't look good on any of his carries. His yards per carry is only okay because he had one super long run. Take that out and it's bad. Like, Drake's the best running back on that team. I don't know what they're doing. But even if he wins and he's like 60% of the running back carries, what good is that for me if he's probably not going to get the 3rd down role because he's not just going to be the 3-down back on a team that's not going to score many points, not going to run many plays. It's the worst offensive line in the league. It just doesn't feel like a pick that I would ever make. So I really just don't want to make that pick. But let's just pick Josh Gordon. No! Yeah. Okay, so someone picked Josh Gordon from me. That's great. So now we can't do that. I guess we'll take Moncrief next. We'll take Moncrief. We'll be done with the wide receivers. We'll take whoever we feel like at running back. All the quarterbacks are still available. There goes Moncrief. This is great. I love it. I love fantasy. Marquise Brown. You could go Boykin. I really don't know. Who do you guys think between Marquise Brown and Miles Boykin? Who would you take first? And why? Don't just say a name. Because like Boykin could be really good. He's very talented. Oh, we'll just take Deshaun. Yeah, we'll take Deshaun Hamilton. Where do they have 410? They have Keyshawn Johnson. It's looking like he's going to be... Did I read that right? 418. Did I say 410? Whatever. It's looking like he's going to open the season as the 3rd wide receiver on the Arizona like air raid offense. So I'm not taking him ahead of... I can wait though. I could take Gallup too. I could take Deebo Samuel. I could take Albert Wilson. Guys, I have 34 seconds. I'll remember what I was talking about. I probably won't, but I'll try and remember what I was talking about. You probably have to take Ballage. Whatever. I'll make the pick. You probably have to take him at this point. There's no one left on this list that has a legitimate path, at least right away, to a bunch of points. Besides, I guess Chase Edmonds for the injury. Whatever. We'll take Ballage. I don't like the pick at all. But I don't think anyone's gonna take Hamilton because of the hamstring. But even if they do, I'm cool with Gallup. I'm cool with Deebo Samuel. I'm cool with Albert Wilson. I'll take Keyshawn Johnson. Like, listen, he's gonna beat out Isabella, who has the concern over the knee and the drops. He's gonna beat out Hakeem Butler because he's not that good. I don't know why they drafted him. And then it's Keyshawn Johnson. So if you've got Kirk, Fitz, Johnson, they're going to be running... I've heard weird reports out of Ricky Seals-Jones, like he's not the starting option, which is odd to me. He's the best tight end in the roster. But if he's out there on like most plays, because they're going to have 3 wide receivers on most plays, there's a path. Let's say Kirk gets hurt. And now Keyshawn's the outside one. Right? He's the one on the outside, right? Because they're going to use Fitz in the slot. So he's a Christian Kirk injury away from becoming Christian Kirk. Not bad, right? Not bad upside. Take that person who drafted Josh Gordon. Oh, there goes Lamar Jackson. So this is going to be the probably the first mock draft in a while that I haven't drafted Lamar Jackson in. But we're going to take we're going to take Hamilton. I highlighted the names that I could have taken with this pick: Gallup, Samuel, Wilson, Keyshawn Johnson, and I'm probably just gonna stop it here. Take off that. I'm gonna stop it here, and I'm gonna show you guys just how the draft ended up. Be sure, obviously, to let me know which team, so we can know which person is going on to the subscriber league. So whoever had the best draft here, write that in the comment section. Preferable if you give an answer why. But that person, whoever gets the most votes, will be the next person in the subscriber league. I'm going to end this draft like I always do. I'm going to take a quarterback with the next round. And then defense, goodness, I don't even remember. Yeah, it was the Cowboys. The Cowboys were the team that were taken for defense because of how easy their opening schedule is. But that's it. Tell me who had the best mock draft from this list. But that's the end of this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about hitting that like button? If you're new here, how about subscribing to the channel? That's the end of this one. Thanks for watching.